Here we can see some of the Oracle Data Integrator very important interview questions. Okay, so first question is, what components make up Oracle Data Integrator? We can easily explain them like Oracle Data Integrator will be containing of the following. That is, one is Oracle Data Integrator Studio plus Topology Manager, which includes designer, operator and the agent. So Topology Manager is the one where we will design the physical architecture as well as logical architecture. That means physical architecture connecting to the source databases or the target databases, whichever technology we are using, either it is Oracle or either it is SQL Server or the XML file or the flat file, whatever it is, we are going to design the physical architecture. Next, we are going to make use of the logical architecture in order to connect to the physical architecture. Then we will go back to the designer. There in the designer, we will be designing the project. Under the project, like we will be designing the models. That models will be connecting in the project. Next, we will be designing the interface in the designer. Everything will take care in the designer. Whatever the interface we create in the designer, that interface will be running and it will be monitored in the operators. If something is scheduled, that will be get scheduled through the agents. And next is, this one will be used for Oracle data quality for data integrator. And the next is data profiling. These are the very important things which are available from the Oracle data integrator. Next, what is a model in ODI? A data model corresponds to group of tabular data structures stored in data server and is based on logical schema defined in the topology and contains only metadata. That means once we are doing an logical schema, that schema we are going to make use of in the model. That means when we are using the reverse engineering technique, from the database which we are using from the logical schema, it is going to import you the table structure, not exactly the entire data. How our OBIEE will be working? When we are connecting the database into the OBIEE environment, we are going to import the tables. That means tables means just a metadata structure of your table. It's a metadata. So it doesn't contain any volume of data at the ODI end. So that it will be a lighter tool. Whenever ODI runs a query, it will pass to the database metadata through the table which is imported, and it is going to load the data or insert the data into the database schemas. And next, what are the users parameters in Oracle Data Integrator? Oracle Data Integrator saves user parameters such as default directories, Windows positioning, and user parameters are saved in the user prefix.xml file under the bin. Under the bin, we will be having user prefix.xml file. Under that, these all things will be get stored. And next, what are the types of repositories in ODI, and can we explain them? One is master repository and other one is a work repository. Master repository is a data structure containing information of the topology of the company's IT resources on security or version management of the objects or the data models. Repository is stored on the relational database access for the client and server mode of different Oracle Data Integrator modules. That means master repository is the one which we will be providing when we are creating with repository creation utility in the ODI. Before we run the ODI Studio installation, first we need to create a database, and after that we will be creating Oracle Data Integrator repository creation utility. In that repository creation utility, we will be providing with the master repository. So master repository can be a single, and under that we can have work repository, one work repository for development and one work repository for production, just to monitor the things whatever we are doing from the development. So that is how we can maintain master and work repository. Work repository is the data structure containing information of data models, projects and the users. That means the entire thing will be under the work repository, whatever projects we are creating. This repository is stored on relational database access, client and server modes of different Oracle database integrator modules, and several work repositories can be created in several master repositories if necessary. How a work repository can be linked with only one master repository of the version management purpose. Like on a single master repository, you can create a number of work repositories. Okay, so that's how master repository comes first. Next, it comes with the work repository. And how can I create more than one master repositories in ODI? In general, normally if we run, in general, you need to create only one master repository. However, it may be necessary to create several master repositories in project construction or several sites, not linked by high-speed network, off-site development for an example, and necessary to clear separate interface operating environments, development, test, production, including on database containing master repository. This may be the case if the environments are on several sites. That means you are having multiple sites were available. That means the environment is not on a single site, it is on multiple sites. Then you might be having a requirement of creating multiple master repositories on each and every site and multiple work repositories under master repositories. And next is, what are three types of knowledge modules used in Oracle Data Integrator? One is LKM and IKM, RKM, JKM, CKM. So these are the 5 very important knowledge modules which we use it. One is LKM, used to extract the data from heterogeneous source system like files, middleware, databases, extract to the staging area. Next, IKM, used to integrate load data from staging to target tables. And RKM, used to perform a customized reverse engineering data models to specific technology. It extracts data from metadata, provides to the ODI repository, and it is used in data models. Next, JKM, used to create a journal of data modification, inserts, updates, deletes of the source database to keep track of changes, and these are used in data models and used to change data capture. And next is used to check data consistency and to place the constraint onto the sources and targets are not violated. These are used in data models and static checks and interfaces flows checks. Static checks refers to the constraints of rules defined in the data model to verify integrity of sources or application data. Flow check refers to the declarative rules defined in the interfaces to verify an application incoming data before loading into the target tables. And what is an interface? Interface is the one where in ODI which we will map source and target, and the mapping flows, everything will design in the interface. And next is, what is a temporary interface? Yellow interface. Advantage of using yellow interface is to avoid creation of models each time we need to use it in an interface. Since they are temporary, they are not a part of data model, hence we don't need them to be in the model. And some differences between ODI 10G and 11G. ODI 10G provides Java API to manipulate both design time and runtime artifacts of the product. This API allows you, for the example, to create and modify interface programmatically and create your topology, perform import and export operations, launch or monitor sessions. This API can be used in any Java, SE and EE applications, or in a context of Java-based scripting language like Groovy and Python. And here, external password storage to have source and target data servers, and context password stored in an enterprise credential store, and external authentication to have user password information stored in an enterprise identity store, LDAP, Oracle directory, Active Directory. What is CKM and when we will use CKM? Check control module is used when we are creating constraints to the target data store. We can say that check is used in the data quality control. That means in your source table, if you are having any wrong data or not exact data, quality of data is not there, then what happens in real time is when we are loading the data from source to target, if we provide check, then what happens, it will check the data which is not in a clear format, and it is going to restrict there, and it is going to load it into some other table, and it is going to load it into the target. And the next thing is like SKM will be used for service knowledge module is to generate the code required for the data services. They are used in the data models. Data services are specialized web services that enable access to application data in data stores and to change capture of the data stores using change data capture methodology. And how to load data from file to file and what KM will be required for this requirement. File to file, IKM file to file should be used, incremental file to file. And what are the types of data quality controls that are used? There are two ways of data quality control. One is static, we will be running constraint on existing target data. This one done using loading the data into the target. And the flow, this will run the constraint on incoming data. This is done before loading the target load the data into the target. What is a constraint? Constraint is nothing but a condition which you will apply while transferring the data from source to target. And what is an dollar table in OBIEE? Temporary error table created by ODI. It is created by checksum. Checksum, suppose if I provided a schema name when I am doing some target table creation, this error table also will be get created into our target. In error table we will have all the data files which are having errors. So most of the time when you provide a CKM module, this one can be done. And what is an I table in ODI? This flow data created by IKM while integrating the data in the data map. This is a temporary table used by ODI. And like how our error table will be loaded, this also is a temporary table. And what is a J table? This is where all changes are recorded. Journal contains references to the changes records along with the type of changes, insert, update and delete. This is the table where your all the data journals will be available. Next is what is journalization, why we are using in ODI. This is the way to implement change data capture in ODI. We use JKM for this purpose and explain step-by-step procedure to enable journalism. And here the first step is to import a proper JKM. After creating model and reverse engineering, we have to add model to CDC and then we need to subscribe to the table we want. This we enable the journalization. What is the scenario in ODI? Explain about the scenarios in one package also we can make use of it. And the next is like explain about ODI toolbox. While creating a package, we can use of ODI toolbox to achieve some of the special needs. That means file, ODI file append multiple flat files into one. ODI FTP get, obtain flat files on our server for loading. And next ODI send mail, send an email once your package has completed or failed. These kind of options can be done. Difference between a package and a load balance. In a package you will have various objects such as interfaces, variables which are connected in an order. They will get executed in an order based on the results of the previous object. The package will simplify the work of a developer by making a multiple step process into single check executable. In a load plan, the executions will be, the scenarios will be executed in either serial or parallel manner. Load plan cannot be represented diagrammatically, which is the case in a package. What is an agent? What are the different types of agents? Physical agent is an ODI Java service that runs through host as a listener, TCP/IP port. It can execute your scenarios when it is invoked one of the ODI GUI module or schedule these executions when it is started as a scheduler. A physical agent should have a unique name in the topology manager. It is referred by its host IP address or a name and the TCP port it is listening on. A physical agent can run multiple sessions in parallel, multi-thread for optimization purpose. It is recommended that you adjust the maximum number of concurrent sessions it is allowed to execute. When this maximum number is reached, any new incoming session will be queued by the agent and executed later when other sessions have terminated. If you plan to run multiple parallel scenarios, you can use load balancing with other agents. So what are types of agents? Standalone agent, J2W agent. What are flexible feeds or use of flexible feeds in ODI? In ODI, you can create user defined fields on creation objects. You can think of these fields as additional attributes for certain objects at design time. You populate these attributes with values that are then used at runtime. By knowledge module, there are various flexibles defined out of box for very specific. What is a profile in ODI? Profile is set of object-wise privileges. We can assign these profiles to the users. Users will get privileges from profiles. What are the types of profiles in ODI? Connect profile is one profile will be available, and designer, operator, repository explorer, security admin, topology admin, and vision admin, NG designer, and NG metadata admin, NG repository explorer, NG version admin. Difference between generic and non-generic profiles. If an administrator wants a user to have rights on no instance by default but wishes to grant the right by instance, he must grant the user with a non-generic profile. And if an administrator wants the user to have rights on all the instance of an object type, but by default he must grant the user with a generic profile. What are the types of generic profiles, profile types in ODI? Connect, designer, metadata admin, operator, repository explorer, security admin, topology admin, version admin. And what are the types of non-generic profile types in ODI? Designer, NG metadata admin, NG repository explorer, NG version, and admin. Which profile requires access data models in designer time? Connect designer metadata admin to be able to do the reverse engineering. What profile needs access to solution in designer tool? Connect and designer profiles. And what profiles require an access to ODI console? And I think it doesn't depend on ODI profiles, but the WebLogic users and the rights. How to move objects from dev to QA, QA to production? Just by import the utility of your project, entire project, we can make use of it. Like here we can see, we can go to objects, export this object and import it to any folder into any project. Just create a project name and export and import, you can do it. Like see, if we export this, we can create one more folder, test, and we can import it there. Like that we can make use of it. And next, what are types of log levels in ODI? We are having notification, incident error warning, trace, high priority log level, and log level 1, and low priority is 32. What is the use of markers? Like markers will use info about priority orders. What's memos? Memo is an untitled amount of text attached to virtually any object visible on the memo tab when an object has memo attached. What is the sequences? Sequences is a variable that increments itself each time it is used. Between two uses, the value can be stored in a repository or managed within the external relational database management system. And Oracle Data Integrator supports two types of sequences: standard sequence, whose last value is stored in the repository; specific sequences, whose last value is stored in the repository database management system. Oracle Data Integrator undertakes to read the value, to log the row for consequences, and after that last increment. And what is a session? Session is an execution, and session is an interface, a package, a procedure undertaken by execution agent. A session is made up of steps which are made up of tasks. And session, what is a session task? Session is a small execution unit which corresponds to a procedure command in a knowledge module, procedure assignment of a variable, etc. Does OBI supports web services? Yes, ODI supports web services. ODI is a SOA enabled web service that can be used in 3 ways. Oracle Data Integrator public web service that lets you create a scenario, a published package from a web server service called data services, which provide web service over a data store, and table view or other data register is ODI. ODI invoke web services tool that you can add to a package to request a response from a web service. And what is an ODI console? ODI console is a web-based navigator to access designer, operator and topology navigators through the browser. And suppose I am having 10 interfaces and running interface 5th, one failed, how to run remaining interfaces? If you are running sequential load, it will stop and other interfaces. So go to the operator navigator, right click on the failed instance and right click and restart it. If you are running all the interfaces are parallel, only one interface will fail and the other interfaces will finish. If the interfaces were created one after the other, then what happens in a package, like if one fails, other one will run if it is in parallel. If it is in sequence, then we need to run it once again, the upper one which is getting loaded. What is a load plan and type of load plans? Load plan is a process to run and execute multiple scenarios of the sequential or parallel or conditional based execution of your scenarios. And same way we can call 3 types of load plans: sequential, parallel and conditional load plans. We can follow any one of the following to create a subquery. Using yellow interface and subqueries option, we can create subqueries in ODI. And using a view, we can go for subqueries. Using an ODI procedure, we can call direct database queries in ODI. How to remove a duplicate in ODI? Use distinct in IKM level. It will remove the duplicate rows which are coming from the source while loading it into the target. And suppose having a unique and duplicate, what I want to load unique record one table and duplicates to another table. Create 2 interfaces. Once procedure uses 2 queries, one unique values and other one is for the duplicate values. And how to implement data validation? Use a filter and mapping area and data quality related constants using check knowledge module flow control. Once you use it, whatever the data quality or data validation need to be done, it can be done there. And next, how to handle exceptions. Exceptions in packages, advanced tab and the load plan exception tab, we can handle the exception. These are some of the very important Oracle Data Integrator interview questions which you can follow. Once you finish with practice with the tool, and you can make use of these interview questions before you prepare for any client interview. I hope like you all enjoyed this training. Thank you.